Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast, our somewhat regular get-together here in audio format for E2C Network, the Auburn Experience. We're all about sharing that experience here, which is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. And an easier way to say it might be, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So we thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing today on this particular catch-up with you about Auburn topics, news, things of that nature, things that I'm interested in talking about that are all related to orange and blue. My name is Kyle. I'm your host, as always, here for Ever to Podcast. This is episode 11 on May 28th, 2025. And I'm actually recording this a little bit later than I normally like to because some news started breaking today. And no, it's not necessarily the news that you're sitting on pins and needles waiting for, but that really depends on what you're thinking about as far as the news. We'll get into that in just a second here. We're going to get into 1,000 different things. As always, we want to hear from you, the fans, e2cnetwork@gmail.com. Drop us a line, let us know a comment, a question about something we talked about here today, or if you want us to talk about something on this particular show. So let's start right here at the very top of the hour. I am recording this at about 12:45 p.m. Eastern time. The show usually runs at about 2 p.m. Eastern time. So between that window of me recording this and 2 p.m., some big news might happen. Let me just go ahead and preface that. Today is the NBA decision deadline for the NBA draft processes, which means that lots of Auburn fans are waiting for Tahad Pettiford. With my luck, he's going to announce it in between this window of gap here. So as I'm speaking to you right now for episode 12, we do not know his decision. I do not have a prediction for it either way. I can make a case one way or the other for him to stay, for him to go. Either way, it's a great thing for him, and it's a great thing for Auburn. We will certainly talk about it on the next episode, his decision, because he has to make the decision today. Is he going to stay in the draft? Is he going to come back to Auburn? That's the big question. That's what you all are waiting on. But that's not the only news today, and why I'm starting this a little bit later, or recording a little bit later. Right about the time I typically record, we got the news breaking of a brand new addition to the 2025-26 Auburn men's basketball team. And it's one that a lot of people have been waiting on to see if the decision was going to go. Was he going to stay out there? Was he going to come in to the States to do something else? Was he going to commit to Auburn? And we're talking about Serbian big man Filip Jovic. Now, Filip, please, I may be mispronouncing all of this. I will learn it. But for now, Filip Jovic, who is coming over after playing in Serbia to be with the Auburn Tigers as maybe that final backcourt, the big man piece that Auburn has been looking for. He's listed at about 6'9". He's 20 years old. He's been averaging about 12.2 points per game, 3.9 rebounds. So depending on how Auburn wants to utilize him, you could say small forward, big forward. Probably most people will say just forward and wherever Bruce wants to plug and play him. But certainly Bruce Pearl has been very adamant about him wanting to find another big man to add to the piece, continuing to rebuild all the losses from Janai Broom and Dylan Cardwell, several others, obviously departing for the NBA, graduating, things of that nature. So there's your piece for that portion of the puzzle. I already addressed the other piece that we're waiting on and don't know as of doing this show. But Serbian bigman Filip Jovic commits to the Tigers, will be part of the 2025-26 team, and it'll be fun to watch him be part of this revamped roster for the Auburn Tigers and how a little bit of European flair from Serbia might be a great addition to this team. As a quick little note on this NBA draft decision day, also Chaney Johnson announced he would be into the NBA draft. Not that this was a big surprise. I think he was probably holding out hope to see if there was any way to get him some extra eligibility, but he had to declare today. So he is going into the NBA draft. We wish him well and certainly are very thankful for his time as a part of the Auburn men's basketball team. I've been a particularly big fan of Chaney over these last few years with him, and I'm going to miss seeing him. So that's some exciting news. It's some good news. Let's talk about some not so great news. Most of you have heard by now, and in fact, it was happening while we were doing yesterday's edition of Everett Podcast. The men's golf team season has come to an end, sadly, in the quarterfinals, and it just pains me to say it that it is Virginia that did it. Now, this is a rematch of last year in the NCAA tournament where Auburn got the better of Virginia, but this time they get it. Really, when we were recording yesterday, it was not looking all that great from what I remember for the Tigers. At least it was heading that direction. They did make a little bit of a roaring comeback towards the end there. Jackson Coyven handled his business and had his match, because if you don't understand how it plays in match play, you pair your best 5 guys with their best 5 guys, and then each match determines a point. So 5 points total are up for grabs, and they're usually pretty close. They do win 3-2 because Jackson gets one. Jackson Coyven gets one. Caden Pope, who was behind most of the day and is probably like I hate to say the least talked about on this team, but when you got names like Jackson Coyven, Carson Baca, Brendan Valdez, everybody knows them from last year. Josiah Gilbert. But Caden Pope obviously did a big thing yesterday by roaring back to get Auburn that second point to give them a chance but unfortunately the other guys, they weren't able to do it. So the Tigers season comes to an end. They finish in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. No title defense for them this year, but it doesn't take away from their accomplishments. It doesn't take away from how great a team this is. It looks like several of the team members will be able to return next year, if not a lot of them, and some new faces as well. We'll certainly talk about that as that is appropriate, but we are talking about yet another Auburn sports team ending its athletic calendar year, and things are just slowly shutting down here. But it makes it easier to focus in on the last few things that are going right now in the Auburn sports space. So that's out there. Congrats to the men's team for making it as far as they did. Very proud of them. As a quick little aside to this, too, track and field is beginning their preliminaries in NCAA tournament play as well. That's women's and men's track and field. So make sure you're paying attention to them to see what may or may not happen. I remind you, they were mere points away from winning a men's national title last year, very surprisingly for a lot of us. So tune in. Don't miss out. That begins today. Preliminaries. Auburn men's and women's track and field is in the NCAA competitions, the championships, the preliminary part of it. Last thing that I wanted to bring up for you today, I can't remember if we talked about it yesterday, but most of you have seen the video board for the north end zone is really getting close, at least from the outside looking in, close to completion. A lot of other people have posted images and stuff. We took the time on Memorial Day to drive through Auburn as we were heading back home and get some footage of it, some pictures, which we've shared out, and some video, which we put out yesterday, getting some really good angles across campus, honestly. That thing sticks out. If you have not looked at the video board in person, go look at some of our images and our videos out there. We got shots from back by the nursing building where you can see it from the parking lot. Almost section that's closest to Mama G's right there on Magnolia. Went over to the Haley Center and get a good look from there. So if you're really wanting to see an update on that particular construction project as it nears its completion, supposedly, there's a good opportunity for you to get a good look at it, to see what it looks like. And let me bring this up to you, because this is a very common comment that we get when we share anything about this particular construction project. Why didn't they add seating? Or I wish they would have added extra seating. Folks, I cannot stress this enough for you. It's one of the biggest problems we have in fandom, but also in the Auburn space, of people not doing their research before they make comments like this. And I'm not trying to be your parent or anything like that, but it's a big problem. And I got to do better. We all got to do better about this. When they announced this project, they announced it as the first phase of renovations to that north end zone. In fact, they addressed that the way that the structure beneath the video board was going to set up for future projects, which they've already announced some of what that building structure below it may eventually become the next phase of this project. We probably will get some form of new seating. I don't know that it's necessarily what everybody's thinking. There's been surveys that have gone out about for season tickets holders about what it might look like in the future, or what some options that they're thinking for. I've taken those surveys myself. Maybe you've seen them as well. So let me just reassure you that the idea, the concept, and the continuation of expanding and or just renovating that whole end zone is still ongoing. So please do not mistake the video board and the lack of seating right now for an understanding that there may be a need for that for the future in the north end zone of Jordan-Hare Stadium. So that's going to catch you up on the majority of the news right now. Certainly there is a lot, as I addressed at the start, that is up in the air. We'll hopefully be able to talk about that tomorrow and give you some big implications for that. But a big addition. We're looking forward to the rest of the sports that are still going in the spring. Thanks to men's golf for a great season. Talked about plenty. As always, drop us a line, e2cnetwork@gmail.com, for anything you want covered here or talked about, or just something that you want to say. Hey, we'll give you a shout out on the show. And we hope that you're following, subscribing on social media, podcasts, YouTube, all the stuff that you can get involved with. And don't forget, Auburn Family Night this Wednesday night. It's today, after all, if you're listening today, on YouTube at 9 Eastern Time, our live call-in show for you, the Auburn family, to take center stage. Thank you for being here with us today on Ever to Podcast. Until we get to talk to you again, War Eagle.